Graham, first of all, SA20 into the third year, 100th game coming up. That's a big tick off, for a league which is now many consider after the IPL. If you're looking at from a perspective of quality and even popularity, it's a big thing. So your take on that, the way you were the commissioner in 2022, you took over this kind of your brainchild, the journey for you, how gratifying is it now seeing that you're going there at that 100th mark?
Yeah, look, it's incredible that we're sitting here at 100 games at Betway SA20. I think, if I think about how much work we had to do to build it initially, to bring confidence back to South African cricket, to know, for the people that trusted us in the beginning and what we were building, the 6 franchises and the fans, that have turned out in numbers. And I think the other exciting thing is that in South Africa in particular, we've introduced a lot of new fans to cricket that maybe weren't fans before. So it's going to be a goosebump moment. It's going to be a good time to reflect and to be excited about what we've built.
Right. And you very rightly mentioned bringing in the new audience. Like for India, cricket is like the first and last game in some sorts. But so in South Africa, there's a lot of rugby, a lot of other sports, be in Australia and other countries. So bringing in the new fans is definitely a challenge. How do you think SA T20 in comparison to, let's say, the earlier iterations of T20 franchises that we had seen in South Africa? What different SA T20 has managed been able to do or have been successful in that regard?
Well, I think we set some big goals, and I think we've built a model that allows us to be successful. I also think we've been very intentional about what's important to us. I think attracting outstanding players, putting the best South African players together, and creating a really competitive cricket league, I think is hugely important. And I think we've managed to get that right every year, and it's gone from strength to strength. And then the sport and entertainment side of what we do. If you come into our stadiums, the fan experience in the stadium, what's on offer from the music to the entertainment to everything in and around, the giveaways, the sponsor activations, has really just enabled people to want to come and experience it, and then they've fallen in love with cricket. So I think where cricket was 3 years ago in South Africa, 3, 4, 5 years ago, where the team maybe wasn't doing so well, there was a lot of administrative issues, people that got despondent with cricket. I think where we see now, our national team has improved, is challenging in the World Test Championship finals. It's made a final of a T20 World Cup, and Betway SA20 is really gone from strength to strength even on this year.
Yeah, even on the women's side as well, under 19 final as well. The women's team also doing good. In a way, it seems if one thing goes right, everything probably in a way stays in place or gets in place. On that itself, SA T20, the expansion bit of it. I mean, there was talks that you had talked about, how to expand and stuff. Do you think are you thinking of expansion right now, or as you said, there's still time, or still you need to work on consolidating the league as such, and again the kind of returns that you're getting, like for example, Dinesh Karthik playing, an Indian star coming in, the kind of eyeballs that will probably get. Are you looking for more of that on those
Yeah,
lines?
we want to grow. I mean, look, the IPL is its own beast, and we're very lucky that we have a good relationship with the BCCI, and they've been unbelievable at helping guide us when at certain times while we were building out Betway SA20. I think for us, it's about obviously how do you keep getting better every year, establishing the product even more, getting more people to tune in and want to experience SA20 from around the world. I mean, those are our ultimate goals. We've got to keep growing and getting bigger. Our ambition is to be the biggest league outside of India. I think we're already, people are talking about us. We want to be the league of choice for players. I think the international players are choosing to be here because the cricket is really hard in our window. It's competitive, the fans, it's summer, it's a great feel. And I think, once those things start to fall into place, it really does help you, be able to even lift it a little bit more.
But one of the biggest challenges per se for any franchise league, so to speak, again, this was something that you had also alluded to, the fact that there are a lot of leagues that are happening simultaneously. Like the prime example being last year, there came a situation where it was country over the franchise thing. But that's something that for me, or for you, the future of cricket is in a way franchise cricket, so to speak. How do you wade through that? What's the best possible scenario wherein you find the window where the league also can grow? Is it a case where you look at, let's shun one format or bilaterals, or what was the way
Well,
forward in that sense?
we work with Cricket South Africa heavily on that. You know, they still are majority shareholder. We've now announced our next 3-year windows, and we worked closely with them on their schedules and how it works for them and where we can slot in. So, we spent lots of time in the room with them. I mean, obviously, I think bilateral cricket's got its own scheduling issues. It's not just a South Africa thing. I mean, SA20 is 5 weeks in an entire calendar year.
Yeah.
And it's a busy calendar year. I get that. It's the T20 World Cup next year in February. South Africa's in India till mid-December. So all these are challenges just in the short term. But I think as we get to the next FTP cycles and stuff, then it gets easier to really plan this all out over a 5-year period. Right now, the investment is to establish the product. Cricket South Africa have made some, big decisions in terms of making sure that they develop the league. We know franchise cricket's growing, so it was very important for South Africa to have, a really strong competition.
And in the franchise cricket itself, again, I allude to one of your comments that you had made in reference to an T20, where you're bringing in the players, you're getting in the league, and you're done. Unlike an IPL or maybe SA20, in terms of developing those grassroots for the South African players, the domestic players, the players like
Yeah.
Mapaka or Pretorius and Pretorius. What's the next direction in terms of solidifying that base, that you already
Yeah.
have the teams coming in, you have the IPL or the owners there coming in, you have the eyeballs, but to solidify it, what's probably the next stage
Yeah.
on that process?
So yeah, I mean, my comments around those is just related to the amount of international players that they require. I don't know if that's exciting for the game. Where I think there's got to be more of an element of like trying to grow your local base, and I think we're doing that. I mean, at SA20 now we've invested in the schools program. We've launched over 500 schools now in a 5-month competition, both girls and boys, over 1,000 games. We've done under 19 girls camps. We've sent our under 19 girls coach on experience stuff. So we are working on the talent pipeline all the time. We've introduced the rookie system into the main event, and this year you saw a number of those rookies playing well. Mapaka, Pretoria, some of the exciting ones, and so on. So it's been great to see, and hopefully we'll see that we can get to a place where India's got with the IPL, where they can put out 2 amazing teams and play in 2 different parts of the world and still be really competitive. And if we can grow our player base to 30, 35, 40 people that can play for South Africa on any given day, then you're going to see South African cricket go like that.
Right. So a couple of questions slightly on moving away from SA20. Just want to talk about South African cricket. You talked about earlier to WTC, how it is going. Your take on the entire WTC journey for South Africa, how it started in a very unconventional way, but they've taken it. The kind of players who are coming in, someone like David Bettingham, coming up, and others as well. Your take on WTC? You think Australia? They're the
Yeah, I
favorites?
mean,
Or is it?
I'm excited. I can't wait. I mean, I think it's such a great platform for our guys. They've worked hard to get there, and you see how hard they've worked to improve their skills. And they look like a really tight knit team that plays for each other. And they had to win 7 Test matches in a row. That's very tough. And I'm looking forward to congrats to Temba and Shukri Conrad on the success they've had. It's for us, it's just great to see. I mean, I think our bowling unit, they've done it with a lot of injuries as well. So our bowling unit will always be strong. It's seeing if our batters can compete in the conditions that come their way.
Right. And one last question regarding City. Who do you think will probably be there? And there's also a sub question to that in terms of the seniors, Virat Kohli and others. From an Indian perspective, there's a lot of clamor. They're getting old, and just get out of the game and this and that. Your opinion on City and about this?
Yeah, Champs Trophy, I don't know. It's going to be interesting to watch. I think there's so many nuances between, playing in Dubai and playing in Pakistan and conditions. I don't think many people know really what it's going to be like. It's a very short tournament, so it's a very difficult tournament to arrive out of form. So I think, those that start well in the tournament and can carry the momentum through will probably be the most successful. It's the thing about the journey as a cricketer. When you're young, everyone talks about your talent, give him a chance, and when you get old, everyone's saying when you're going to retire. But it's that sort of pressure that these guys are used to. They'll be proud in their own performances. They'll want to go and show that they've still got it and perform well.
Right.